Hi, hello! A first short video from me today because I have several new items that I would like to show you this week, starting off with two that I picked up when I was in the city center last week. First and foremost, I think a couple of you might be quite interested in this new Sisley eyeshadow and maybe something just a little bit less interesting, but you know, I was just very curious. I bought one of the new Dior lip liners that they released with this new nude lip collection, which honestly I'm a little bit confused about. I'm going to start doing my makeup though because we're in a little bit of a hurry. I actually have a meeting being thrown right into the deep this morning. It's my first day back at work after holidays, so I'm going to be taking my eyeshadow base. This is the Urban Decay Primer Potion, which I've deposited in this little, you know, container that I had a Lush, something from Lush. These pots can come in quite handy, so I tend to save like little pots from lip balms, samples of things, because you never know when you're going to have to depot something or, you know, take it for traveling with you. Anyway, so last week I was in the city center because I had the most delightful day to myself. Last week was still my holiday week. We came back from our beach holiday. I already told you all about that, and then I had a couple of days to myself. First and foremost, I painted our bathroom downstairs, which I think I talked about in my video last week as well. And that's all finished now. It's even to the point where I finally executed my idea of like how to decorate the place, because I've had this idea. Let me grab my foundation. Vanish Liquid in the shade Buff and MAC Face and Body in the shade NC25, my usual mix as of late. I had this whole idea that besides repainting the walls, I also wanted to hang up some photos, and specifically photos of, you know, countries, cities, places that we've been to, just because, you know, it's really nice. I really like to hang up artwork and photos on my walls, and it doesn't have to be like super special photos. It can just be like captured moments from happy holidays, because, you know, you stop by the photo and you're taken right back into that happy moment. So I really like having photos on my walls, just like super random photos. I was also delighted to find out that a variety of sticky tapes exist these days, which completely eliminate the need for putting holes in your walls. I have a thing for putting holes in my walls. I absolutely hate it. I don't like to drill. I don't like to even put like little nails, because everything that creates a hole in my wall just drills a fucking hole in my brain. So we found in the local, you know, handyman store this tape, which has the fantastic name Nano Tape. I don't really know whether there's anything nano about it, but it's like transparent and like very sticky on both sides, and in theory it should be fairly easy to remove. They even say it is reusable, so if it gathers dust over the course of time, you can wash it just under, you know, running water and reuse it, which is fabulous. For my concealer today, I'm going to take the Lancome Tainted Doll in the shade 1 and this NYX Serum Concealer in the shade Vanilla. I'm just going to mix them on the back of my... No, actually no, I'm just going to mix them underneath my eyes. So, well, I went on a whole tangent there, and the point was I went to town to do a little bit of, you know, lunch, coffee and shopping by myself, which, you know, I don't actually tend to do that often. I fantasize a lot about it, but I never actually do it. And I can distinctly remember the last time I did it was exactly a year ago. It was again close to the summer holidays, or maybe right before the summer holidays, and I just decided to take a spontaneous Wednesday off, and I went to town by myself, and that was the day when I purchased the Lancome Bronze Absolute Quint. I remember that because it was very quiet in the city center. I usually go in the city center during the weekends when it's packed full of people. Not my favorite, but okay, if that's the only option to go to the city center, I'd rather go than not go. But going on a random Wednesday is amazing because it's so much quieter. You can browse in the store completely undisturbed. So I had a fabulous day last year, and after that I always fantasized about having another day like that, and somehow that just never happened until last week. So I went to the local makeup store, Douglas, for those of you who live in Europe and are familiar with the chain, and I was just browsing around. Basically, I've been waiting for these new Dior contour sticks and the Chanel blushes to be released here. not yet. Going to set my foundation with the Charlotte Tilbury powder. So I didn't find those, but I did see on display, at least partially, this new Dior nude lip collection. So let's talk about that, because I'm confused. I have not seen super many posts about that, but I am under the impression that Dior are coming out with a whole collection of like neutrally type lipsticks, just like the Gucci neutrals a couple of months ago, but then in the matte and satin formula of Dior. So then in the store they had on display new, and they had the lip liners, or at least 4 lip liners, and some of those like lip balms. But then the actual lipstick shades that they had on display are lipsticks that are in their current, like their existing shades in their collection. So I'm really confused. If anyone knows anything about this release, is the idea that they're actually also going to be releasing new shades of the lipsticks, or I don't know. I don't get it, because I was really hoping that they're going to release like browns for fall in their matte and satin formula, and I adore both their matte and satin formula. I'm going to take the Too Faced Laminating Brow Wax to quickly laminate my brows. So yeah, that's my question, you guys. If anyone has any information, please do share. So because I was there and I was swatching the lip liners, and I think I briefly mentioned that in my makeup collection video, that I really like the shades of the Sculpt and whatever they're called, the new lip liners from Lisa Eldridge in the neutrally shades. I love the tones of these lip liners, but they don't really last as well as her original line on my lips. I have, like, over the course of the day I tend to get quite oily, including around my lips, and her original lip liners, they kind of like stay as an outline. Even if the lipstick goes away, the lip liner stays as an outline. But these new ones, they also basically come off. And when I swatched one of the shades from Dior, I thought, oh, that actually reminds me a lot of the shade 1N from Lisa Eldridge. Now I'm curious to compare whether the Dior formula performs as well, worse, or better compared to the Lisa Eldridge. I have high hopes that it will perform a little bit better, because I think maybe the ones from Lisa Eldridge are marketed to be a little bit softer, but I don't want them to be softer. I basically want the shades from that collection in her regular lipstick line, lip liner. Alright, for bronzer I'm actually going to grab the Nabla Skin Bronzing in the shade Dune, because usually I give a lot of love to this bronzer when I go on holiday, because I take it with me on my travels. But this year I took the Pat McGrath Labs Nirvana in Bloom, I want to say it's called, on holidays, and I didn't take the Nabla powder with me, and I really miss it. It's a gorgeous baked gelée formula. If you have the chance to try these, if they're still around, they're really good. This formula from Nabla is absolutely amazing. I went a bit ham here. I'm going to fix that in a second with my smooth buffer from Sonia. I realized that, but let me just apply on this side first, so that we know what we're going for in terms of intensity. So anyway, besides the lip liner, I casually passed by the counter of Sisley. And why was I interested in Sisley and Sisley eyeshadows in the first place is, of course, my good friend Claudia from B.O.B. Mindset, whom you have heard me talk a lot about. You know that I'm going to link her channel in the description box, if I hopefully do not forget. But my friend Claudia and I, we share this obsession for baked, and specifically baked gelée formulas. So she talked about these eyeshadows on her channel a while ago, and of course I became curious when she said they're baked gelée and they look so beautiful in the pan. I went to store and I thought, I'm going to give them a swatch, see what happens. For blush I'm going to take Nude Venus 2 from Pat McGrath Labs. And honestly, they're a gorgeous texture. There's no other way to say it. Baked gelée is always such a good choice for anything really. For a face powder, for eyeshadow, for anything. Because it just performs like a cream but applies like a powder. That's really the whole spiel with baked and baked gelée formulas. That they look seamless and skin-like as a cream would, but they are basically lightweight powders. Anyway, so I swatched a bunch of the shadows, and I became particularly infatuated with one color, the shade Silky Chestnut, because the idea was not only to buy one of these to try the formula, but to buy it in a shade that is unique to my collection. I didn't want to buy things that I already have. A bunch of the other colors did look like shades that I already have, except for Silky Chestnut. And you look Silky Chestnut and you think, Mariam, it's just a freaking brown. You have millions of browns, literally. However, what you will see in a little bit in the swatch is Silky Chestnut has a very beautiful undertone, and one that I don't see brands do in eyeshadow very often. A lot of browns and a lot of browns lean bronzy, they lean warm, they lean coppery, they lean this, they lean that. I rarely come across browns with such a beautiful like pink undertone to them. I'm gonna swatch the shadow in a little bit. Let me first put on a bit of highlighter. Since we're going for Nabla today, let me also grab Privilege. This is one of their skin glazing shades. Also beautiful, gorgeous formula. Love these powders. I'm going to set the powders on my face with a little bit of Fix Plus on my sponge. And then I'm going to quickly swatch Silky Chestnut for you and we can do an eye look. And like I said, we need to hurry up a bit because I need to get to my meeting. Let me show you Silky Chestnut up close and personal again, so that you can appreciate the beautiful texture of this eyeshadow. I'll be honest with you, I actually don't know how much I paid for it because I didn't pay full price. That's something you should know about me. I rarely pay full price for any of the luxury makeup that I buy. Only in exceptional circumstances when I can't get it via local retailers. So Prada Beauty, for example, I can only get from the Prada website, so unfortunately no sale there. But everything else that I can get on sale, I will. So this is Silky Chestnut. As you will see, it is also described to be a satin formula. This is not an eyeshadow that has any sort of metallic finish or sparkle to it. It is literally what it says it is. It is a satin finish. They did have some sparklier eyeshadows in this range. They also have mattes in this range. So if you do go and check this out, keep in mind that they come in different finishes. So this is Silky Chestnut. Isn't that just gorgeous? And just to get the idea across of what a unique shade Silky Chestnut is, I'm going to swatch a couple of my other baked browns. So this one here from Royal Jungle, one of my faves, but this is also a completely different type of baked formula. This eyeshadow is gorgeous, but as you can see, it is a completely different undertone. Still a gorgeous eyeshadow, but a slightly different undertone. Then we have Body Heat here from Tom Ford. Let's watch this shade because I think that would be the one that could be considered to be the closest. But again, I don't think it is very similar at all. This is much cooler in tone, as you can see. And finally, let's watch, I think, the eyeshadow that I think is the closest, which is this brown shade here. This is the brown from Coral Flame. So there you have a couple of brown shades, a couple of baked browns that I have in my collection. Silky Chestnut, Royal Jungle from Guerlain, Tom Ford Body Heat, and this is Coral Flame from Dior. Now first I want to create a little bit of definition in my lash line here, so I'm going to take a ground coffee from Lisa Eldridge and I am going to smudge that out a little bit here in the roots of my lashes. You don't have to be super precise when you're applying the eye pencil this way because you just have to smudge it out within a certain amount of time before it dries. And I'm just using a little smudger brush here from Spectrum. It is a synthetic bristle brush because creams and liquids can damage natural hair. That's why I'm not using my Sonia G's. I prefer to use something that has synthetics. And now I want to show you how effortless this eyeshadow is, because the first time I played around with it, I was just not going anywhere. I was actually just about to take a shower and I wanted to see how the eyeshadow looks like on the eye. So I applied it with my fingers and I was so surprised how incredibly easy and how basically this eyeshadow didn't require even the use of a brush. I could have easily just smudged it around with my fingers. So I'm going to use my fingers again to apply the shade all over my lids, so that you can see what an incredibly flattering finish it has, and how if you didn't want to use a brush, it would not be necessary. I mean, obviously your fingers are not as precise of tools, so I am going to take a brush in a sec. But if you were running out the door, this is fine, right? You don't have to do much more than this. Just apply it on your lid, smudge it out a bit with your fingers, out the door you go. And I just love the undertone of this shade. It is so pretty. Now I'm going to grab a fluffy blending brush. I'm going to take this one from Sonia and just give a light blend of Silky Chestnut, because as easy it is to apply the eyeshadow just with my fingers, it is a bit more precise to use a brush. And I'm going to pop it on with my finger also on my other lid, and I'm going to use the brush to blend it out. Now that I'm traveling a little bit more for work, this is going to be a perfect eyeshadow to take on work trips. I'm going to use the smudger brush to run a little bit of Silky Chestnut also on my lower lashes. Then I'm going to take this cream colored eyeshadow stick from Kiko to apply here in my inner corners as a base. And then I'm going to pop a little sparkly eyeshadow in my inner corners. And then I'm going to show you the look before I apply any additional sparkle on the lid. So one of you asked me if you can apply Pat's Astral and Blitz formulas over top of this eyeshadow. So I wanted to demonstrate that that is 100% possible. So this is the eye look before I apply any sort of sparkle anywhere. If you wanted like a very, you know, office friendly, no fuss look, this is it. Now I'm going to take Astral White from Pat McGrath Labs though. And first I'm going to pop just a tiny bit of that here on my inner corners. And you could also just do this. You could stick to the Pat sparkles in your inner corners without ever taking them on the lid, skipping sparkle entirely. But I'm also going to take just a few flakes of this shade, and when I say just a few flakes, I really mean it. And I'm going to use the lightest touch to apply the flakes here as a bit of like a veil over top of this Silky Chestnut shade, and then I'm going to work it with my finger. And I'm applying literally the smallest amount, barely touched my eyelids, because I want it to be very subtle. I don't want to take too much away from Silky Chestnut. I just want that like little flicker of the glitter when I turn my head into the light. And finally, let me show you the lip liner. This is in the shade 310 Beige Tulle. It looks like this. It comes with the pencil on one side, and then you have this little smudging lip brush on the other side. Before I even use that, I will have to wash it, and I'm not going to use it today. But I also wanted to show you the comparison between this shade and the shade 1N from Lisa Eldridge. So here I have the swatch for the lip liner from Dior. This is Beige Tulle from Dior, and this is 1N from Lisa Eldridge. And the one from Dior is actually a little bit rosier. They're quite close, but the one from Dior is just a little bit rosier, which is perfect because I want to pair it with a Velvet Muse from Lisa Eldridge, which does have a somewhat more pinky undertone. So let's apply the Dior lip liner now. It's a little bit hard to tell because it's, you know, a nudish color that's quite close to my lip color, but it felt very pleasant. The application was super nice. Really, the question is the longevity. I'm going to put a little bit of Muse now. So you guys, this is the final look. I think it looks really pretty, very neutral. I actually really like the combination of the neutral eyeshadow and the neutral lipstick. I would usually pair this kind of look with something brighter on the lips, but lately I've been feeling like, you know, going the completely neutral route. I don't know what's happening with me. I'm becoming a different person. But I really, really, really love the tone of this eyeshadow from Sisley. They're very expensive. For single eyeshadows, they're really expensive. I want to say they're more expensive actually than the singles from Dior and Chanel. But it is a Beige Tulle formula. They're always more expensive. I think these are, like, price-wise, these are probably more comparable to Bobbi Brown singles, like the Luxe eyeshadows. But completely different formula, FYI. So I bought the eyeshadow for the undertone. I'm very happy with the undertone because I have nothing else that is quite like this eyeshadow, and I'm very curious what your thoughts are. Let me know what you thought about this look, what you thought about this eyeshadow. Do you own any of the Sisley mono eyeshadows in this Beige Tulle formula? Which ones are your favorite? And like I said, this is only the first video this week that we're going to do on demoing a new product. I'm going to show you a little sneak peek here. I finally decided which quint, like which will be my next quint from Lancome. I bought this. This is the shade Nude Sculptural, and I'm going to demo that for you probably tomorrow. I haven't actually used it. I can't wait. So keep your eyes peeled for the demo of this Lancome eyeshadow palette. In the meantime, thank you so very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!